Okay, so first things first. Yeah, I know, it's been a while since I dropped a video. I swear I didn't abandon the channel. Wargaming just went quiet for a bit and I took that as emotional support time. But here we are again, and they've finally done it. New dev blog just dropped, and it's a big one. Wargaming has decided that the Europeans deserve more than destroyers and gimmicks, because apparently we're getting a full tech tree of European battleships from tier 4 all the way up to tier 10. Yeah, you heard that right. Not a premium, not a one-off, but a proper researchable line. So get ready folks, because this might actually shake up the entire battleship meta. Either way, we've got new ships, new gimmicks, and probably a fresh round of balanced drama incoming. So let's dive in and see what kind of chaos the new European line is bringing to World of Warships. Alright, so before we even get into stats, let me just apologize in advance for the pronunciation I'm about to butcher, because this new European battleship line sounds like a geography quiz mixed with a spelling bee. We've got tier 4 Yavuz Sultan Selim, tier 5 Tegetthoff, tier 6 Laudon, tier 7 Chios, tier 8 Enigheten, tier 9 Gustav den Store, and finally tier 10 Thor. And yeah, they really named the tier 10 ship Thor. So if it doesn't absolutely delete cruisers with lightning, I'm filing a complaint. Now these ships aren't your usual sit back and lob shells till someone cries kind of battleships. Nope, the Europeans decided to get fancy. Instead of just relying on their big guns like the Yamatos and Montanas of the world, these ships are more like tactical predators. Their main batteries are smaller caliber, not exactly laser accurate, and reload slower than you'd expect. But they're supported by a ridiculous mix of tools that make them surprisingly deadly. The top dog, tier 10 Thor, actually redeems the line a bit. She's got great ballistics, meaning you can actually hit things consistently, which is always a plus when you're playing a line that reloads like it's on vacation. But the real magic? Torpedoes. Yeah, these things come strapped with actual torpedo armament, starting with those old-school underwater tubes you'd expect on World War I ships. Slow, clunky, but still dangerous if you catch someone napping. From tier 8 onwards though, things start getting spicy. The torps get faster, hit harder, and have better angles, making them a legitimate threat. And speaking of armor, they've got solid protection, but not much health to back it up. You'll survive a bit of punishment, but don't expect to tank all day. Pick your fights, use that emergency engine power consumable that gives you a short speed boost, and get the hell out when needed. Oh, and starting from tier 8, these beasts get surveillance radar, because apparently someone at Wargaming thought, yeah sure, let's give a battleship radar, why not ruin Destroyer's Day even more? Combine that with their low detectability and surprisingly high top speed, and you've got what might be the most annoying stealthy torp-slinging BBs the game has ever seen. So now we've reached the big one, the flagship of the European battleship line, Thor. And I'll be honest, that's a pretty intimidating name, but after looking at the stats, it's more like someone gave a lightning god a butter knife and told him to go duel Yamato. I mean, this ship is trying to compete at tier 10, so naturally, we're gonna see how it stacks up against the absolute giants, Yamato, Montana, Republic, Kremlin, and maybe even the super battleships like Hanover and Satsuma, just for the laughs. Starting with survivability, Thor's sitting at 72,700 hit points, which is honestly tiny. Like we're talking bring an extra repair party tiny. For comparison, Yamato sits at over 97,000, Montana's chilling around 96,000, and Kremlin's a literal floating fortress with over 108,000. So Thor looks like she accidentally wandered into the wrong tier. Her armor plating is the standard 32mm, which means you're not bouncing any serious shells unless RNG just feels bad for you. And her torpedo protection is a tragic 21%, so if a submarine so much as sneezes in your general direction, you're probably flooding. This ship's defense basically screams, please don't focus me. Now, let's talk guns, because that's where a battleship either redeems itself or dies trying. Thor's packing 3 triple 406mm guns, which isn't bad, but at tier X, that's kind of average. Yamato and Shikishima laugh from across the map with their 460mm cannons. Republic's got the punchy 431mm French baguette launchers. And even Montana with her 406mm guns outmuscles Thor by sheer volume. Thor only gets 9 barrels to work with, so you better make them count. Her range of 21.7 kilometers is fine, but not exactly impressive when Yamato's reaching out to 26 kilometers and Satsuma can hit you from another postcode. The reload time of 30 seconds is on par with most battleships, though her dispersion of 277 meters and sigma of 1.8 mean you'll get that 2 shells land on target, the rest go sightseeing experience pretty often. The silver lining is that both high explosive and armor-piercing shells have solid 900 meters per second velocity, so you'll at least feel accurate before RNG ruins your hopes. But when your maximum AP damage is 13,650, and Yamato's over there dealing 14,800 with better accuracy, it's hard to feel special. But here's the twist. Thor isn't trying to be Yamato. She's a hybrid hunter. A ship built more around mobility, stealth, and torpedoes. Yes, torpedoes. Let's take a second to appreciate that this 72,000-ton hunk of steel has 16 533mm torpedo tubes, and each torp does 17,500 damage, goes 12 kilometers, and runs at 70 knots. That's insane range and speed for a battleship. You can literally delete a cruiser that thinks it's safe 10 kilometers out. It's like a stealthy ambush weapon hidden inside a Tier 10 ship, and if you're smart about your positioning, it's probably the most satisfying thing Thor can do. Now compare that to Montana, Republique, or Yamato. None of them have torpedoes. Bourgogne might outrun you, Kremlin will out-tank you, and Yamato will out-snipe you. But Thor's got the trick up her sleeve that no one expects, those torps. It's the kind of weapon that turns a losing duel into a mutual disaster, which, let's be honest, is still a win in World of Warships. Moving on to her secondaries, 12 120mm with a 1.3-second reload sounds crazy fast, but don't get excited just yet because their range is only 7.3 km and their damage per shell is just 1,050. That's like throwing firecrackers at a cruiser. Compared to ships like Ohio or Prussian, which have actual secondary batteries that shred destroyers, Thor's secondaries are more for decoration than intimidation. Her AA suite, though, is surprisingly okay. 484 mid-range DPS, 399 long range, and 14 flak explosions per salvo make her capable of defending herself decently against casual carrier strikes, but you're not exactly turning into a no-fly zone like the Montana or Hanover. It's just enough to keep a squadron honest, but not enough to save your skin, if a carrier really wants you dead. Now, her maneuverability, and this is where things finally start to sound interesting. 33 knots of top speed, 840-meter turning circle, and a rudder shift of 16.3 seconds make Thor way faster and more responsive than most Tier X battleships. For reference, Yamato struggles at 27 knots, Kremlin's basically an iceberg at 30, and even Republique, the so-called speedy one, does around 32. Thor's the kind of ship that can actually relocate, kite, or push flanks intelligently, especially when you add that emergency engine power consumable, which gives you a 25% speed boost for short bursts. That means you can literally hit 41-42 knots in a battleship, which is ridiculous. It's like someone dropped a nitrous bottle into the engine room. Then you've got her stealth stats, and this is where she really breaks expectations. 14.6 kilometer surface detectability at base is incredibly good for a battleship. Yamato's sitting at 17.6, Montana's 16.3, and Kremlin's practically visible from orbit at 18.2. That means you can get closer, line up your torps, and actually ambush people before they realize you're not a cruiser. Combine that with radar. Yes, she has a 10-kilometer surveillance radar, and you've got one of the most evil anti-DD setups in the game. Destroyers that think they can sneak up and torp you will instead get radar pinged, spotted, and immediately greeted with 406mm high-explosive shells and torpedoes of your own. It's poetic revenge. So yeah, Thor isn't the kind of ship that wins straight duels against the heavyweights. She's not gonna outgun Yamato, out-tank Kremlin, or outburst Bourgogne, but she's a hybrid, designed for surgical strikes, ambush tactics, and flexible positioning. She's not meant to sit bow in at mid-range and slug it out. She's more of a play smart or die fast kind of ship. Think of her like the love child of Republique's speed, Bourgogne's energy, and a random destroyer's torpedo addiction. In the current meta where positioning and information win games, Thor might not dominate through raw numbers, but she's built to punish mistakes. Any destroyer that overextends, any cruiser that shows broadside, or any battleship that assumes you're just a harmless European meme ship. It's risky, fragile, and probably one of the most high-skilled Tier 10 battleships we've seen in a while. So if you're the kind of player who enjoys taking fights you shouldn't win, landing clutch torps on pushes, and laughing while you speed away at 40 knots in a battleship, then Thor's your kind of chaos. Everyone else? You might want to stick to your Yamato comfort zone. At least there you can blame RNG instead of your life choices. Alright, so wrapping this one up, the European battleship line honestly feels like one of those updates that came out of nowhere, right? Like Wargaming woke up one morning, spun a wheel labeled random European country tech tree idea, and landed on Viking battleship with torpedoes and radar. I mean seriously, Thor is wild. It's got radar, 33 knots of speed, 12-kilometer torps, and the reload isn't even criminal. This thing's trying to be Yamato, Venetia, and a destroyer all in one body. It's like someone at Wargaming went, balance? Never heard of her. But jokes aside, I actually like what they're doing here. The European tree finally gets a proper line that's not just about torpedoes or smoke gimmicks. Thor might not replace your Montana or Satsuma in raw tanking power, but it looks like one of those ships that can do everything decently while still looking cool doing it. And hey, a radar battleship that goes over 30 knots? That's definitely gonna make some destroyer mains uninstall after their next random battle. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today. I know, it's been a while since the last upload, but I swear I'm back for good now. Wargaming's dropping too many updates for me to stay quiet. So yeah, I'll see you folks soon, I promise this time for real.